As you progress in your career, you want to surround yourself with like-minded people, and the conversations you have are different. The people that are above you are always willing to hold their hand down to pull you up. It's the people that are below you that are going to try to drag you down to their level because they don't want to see you out succeed them to a certain point.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of More Than a Sale, where it's not just about the successes, it's about the struggles, the failures, the hardships to get to where you are today. And I have an incredible human being sitting right next to me, Mr. Dave Hutch. He's a team leader. He's managed over 22 members. He's a successful entrepreneur. He did $44 million in sales volume last year. Dave, welcome to More Than a Sale.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's just putting in the fucking work every single day, understanding you're going to have no reward from that work anytime soon. The first 3 years suck. No one's going to call you in year 2, 3. It doesn't happen. I think I attribute all of my success to sports. I played hockey from such a young age.
And why real estate?
My neighbor at the time was a super cool girl. She was very successful. I joined her team within a year, and that's how I got into real estate. Fell into it. It looks easy from the outside, but I promise, like, at the end of the tunnel, when you get out of that and you start seeing, like, for real success, it's crazy.
And I have an incredible human being sitting right next to me, Mr. Dave Hutch. He's a team leader. He's managed over 22 members. Not only that, he's a successful entrepreneur. He did $44 million in sales volume last year. Dave, welcome to More Than a Sale.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Good.
And model.
And model. Yes, absolutely. Tell me about that. Why does everyone think you're a model?
No, I'm not. I think it's just the posts, man. I'll give my videographers credit for that, but no modeling here. That's it.
Tell me a little bit about yourself, Dave. What does the world doesn't know about you?
Yeah, I think the world doesn't know a lot about me, and I kind of like it that way. Everyone has their own little persona online, but I think for the most part, I am pretty much an open book online. I'm very raw and authentic online on how I present myself, but in terms of what someone doesn't know about me, I think I grew up in a small town, grew up living with 3 neighbors and farm fields all around. That's it. So when I moved to Toronto 10 years ago, I didn't know what Gucci was. That's how small town it was. I was like,
what town is this?
It was outside. Well, I was born in Oakville, in Burlington, but Oakville. Then I moved to Rodney, which is like a small town between London and Chatham, and then moved to London, but it was on the outskirts of London, and it was like we literally had 3 neighbors, and that's it, just farm fields, that's it.
What brought you into Toronto?
Honestly, I was pursuing a career in firefighting, and when I got hired in the city, I had to move to Toronto, and then that's kind of where my Toronto days started off, and transitioning into real estate pretty much right away.
So how's it like being a small town boy and then now you're a man in a big city all of a sudden? What's that journey like? I mean, what's the exposure when you found out what Gucci is and you're learning all of these things? Did people look at you and be like, "What, you don't know this? Like, what's wrong with you?" You know?
Honestly, when I first moved here, it was really hard, actually, to be honest. Like, I didn't like Toronto at the beginning. It was very different than what I was used to. Very hectic, lots of, the traffic, the driving, it was nuts. It was a huge city. It was a big transition for me. And when I moved here, I didn't have social media. So, like, I didn't go out very often. I would go out here and there just with, like, my few friends that I did have here. But it was a huge adjustment for me. It was challenging, I think, to say the least. I didn't know anybody in the city, really. And just had to go, meet as many people as possible. But that's kind of where, like, I played hockey from such a young age and was always put in uncomfortable situations. And because I was put in those uncomfortable situations as a kid, I thrive in any sort of social environment. And I was able to just go about and meet as many people as possible. And I mean, it was intimidating, but I saw Toronto as an open canvas for me. I came into a city where no one knew who I was, no real background here. So I was able to kind of start fresh and be whoever I wanted to be.
What position did you play in hockey?
Left wing.
Left wing, incredible. And were you good?
Not really. I was good. I played a high level, but I was a fighter. So, in my late teens, early 20s, the position of being a fighter in hockey was kind of like dwindling out. When I got into, some of the hockey leagues I was playing in, that was a major, major role. And as I progressed in my career, it slowly, concussions became more popular, more relevant. When I was a kid, you'd get knocked out from a hit or a punch or something, and you're the coach or the dad would pat you on the butt and you'd get right back out there next shift. So, like, concussion protocols weren't really a thing.
I have a friend, a really good friend of mine, and he played hockey on a very high level, and he's a tough SOB. What lessons would you say that hockey has had in your life where you've utilized it now, where it's all come into play? What have you learned from playing hockey?
I think I attribute all of my success to sports. I mean that sincerely. Not only is it just being able to understand how to be a part of a team, but understanding the hierarchies of team. In hockey, when you're newer, you're younger, you don't speak much. You sit, you listen, you shut your mouth. And the senior people are the ones that are talking and teaching. And as a junior person, you shut up, you do the work, you do as you're told. But it allowed me to meet so many people, put me in, like I said earlier, so many uncomfortable situations because I was constantly going to new teams, new camps, new training programs. So not only did teach me how to be a functioning member of a team, taught me the hierarchies of different settings, taught me extreme hard work and dedication. When I got into real estate, it was I think that's what it's lacking, is a team camaraderie. So I try to bring that everywhere I go, bringing that team atmosphere. When I got into real estate, I really figured that, everyone's looking out for me. It's all good. It's all gravy, but it's not the reality in a lot of.
Let's talk about that. How did you get into real estate? Now, you're transitioning from firefighting, and why real estate?
My neighbor at the time, when I moved to Toronto, was a super cool girl. She was very successful. The image I saw of her, she seemed to have some free time. She drove really nice cars. She had nice clothes, nice watches, had a really nice unit. One day I said, hey, what do you do? Because I see you a lot and you're always available during the day. What are you doing? And she told me she ran a real estate team and that I could come work with her if I wanted to. So, I got along with her really well. I joined her team within a year, and that's how I got into real estate. Fell into it.
I've been watching your social media journey, and you've transitioned not only from a growth mindset to being more articulate, and there's a different shift in your personality compared to your older posts when you first began. And I feel, and I said this to you in person as well, I said you've changed as a human being compared to what I saw online to when I talked to you in person. What's shifted?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I just grew into the person that I wanted to be. That I had a vision for myself, and I saw who I wanted to become. And I think just by putting in the reps and continuously doing the work over and over again, I just am slowly growing into that person that I want to become, the person that I envisioned myself when I was starting off in real estate. This is where I envisioned myself that I would be, and I'm slowly transitioning to that point. And I think it just comes from confidence, from doing the consistent things over and over and over again, and getting the reps in, putting the work in. It's allowed me to grow with confidence and be able to just be raw, be authentic, because when you're newer, you're second guessing every single thing you say, right? Now I'm fairly confident on everything because I am in the business doing deals all the time, and I'm confident with what I'm saying, and so I can be more raw and authentic and less scripted and just be who I'm supposed to be, I think.
We had the pleasure of having you as one of our speakers in our Unlocking Success event last month, and you did an incredible job, and everybody in the audience really got a chance to learn from the lessons that you had taught. And when you and I talk, we always talk as friends and we joke around. What I want to ask you is that, what would you say are the biggest misconceptions that people have about realtors? Because when they look at you and they look at the profile and when you walk in and they think Dave Hutch is going to be, this type of way, but Dave Hutch is a whole different person altogether. Where do you think these misconceptions happen about realtors, and what is it that really takes a realtor to be successful in this business?
The misconceptions are that it's super easy. This is honestly one of the most time-consuming, difficult careers, I think, in the world, honestly. I know people are going to laugh at that because there's doctors and lawyers out there, but it's not difficult in the sense of the actual job that we're doing. It's difficult in the sense that there's so many hats you have to wear and so many different backgrounds you have to be successful. You can't just have just market knowledge. You have to be personable, have to understand marketing, have to understand how to run ads. Like, there's so many different hats a realtor has to wear. I think the vision is that it looks easy from the outside. You don't really know what we do. Even our sellers sometimes, or even our buyer clients, it's not the work that we're doing in front of them. It's the work you do behind closed doors, the conversations you have, the emails, the texts, the calls you're doing, the marketing you're doing, all behind closed doors. The reason why it looks easy is because we want to give that confidence and elude that confidence, but majority of that work goes behind closed doors, right? Like, everything I do is not in front of my clients. I mean, sure, it is a little bit, but
what's next for you? What do you have planned for yourself? How big do you want to take this? What's your big vision? What's your big goal?
I'm in the middle of a lot of changes right now. So I think, as many of you people know from social media, I had a bigger team. I had 22 agents at one point as the peak of number of agents I had working for me. And we were just talking about this off camera too. I think I'm to blame for getting my team to a point where I maybe wasn't able to help them the best that they could. I'm in the middle of transitioning to a much smaller team right now. And by the time this comes out, it'll probably be already out there. But what's next for me, I can honestly say, I really want to structure a small, lean team that is run like a serious corporate office, like a military office with major expectations. Everybody has an understanding of what their role is within the company, certain GCI goals. Everyone is aligned on the same page. They know what's expected of them. They know what's expected of me, and it's a literal well-oiled machine. So what's next for me is to completely rebuild my team. I made a lot of mistakes when it came to building my team. I spread myself too thin. I made myself too available. And I think if you're a new team leader watching this or you're thinking of starting a team, my biggest downfall was that I just didn't feel that I had enough value add because I was new. I was a new team leader. And when I started, I didn't know what I was doing. I had zero systems in place. I had zero anything. So I didn't understand the value that I was bringing. I didn't understand the value of my time. And to compensate for that, I offered all of my time. And then it ended up being that I was spreading myself too thin. It was making my life not a great place. I was on the phone constantly. And actually, Sahar talked about it in her presentation at Unlocking Success. And it's like, I have my own calendar. And then when I have a team of 22 agents that are now, I'm a part of their calendar as well. I have to help with their problems, not only just my problems. So if you're a new team leader, obviously I'm the kind of person I will jump before having anything in place. And I like it like that. I don't want to have everything perfectly planned out and then execute. I actually think that's where dreams go to die, is when you sit in that planning stage for so long and never actually jump to do what you said you're going to do. I much prefer jumping to do what I'm going to do, and I'll figure the shit out as I go. However, the problem with that was we scaled way too quickly, and I just needed to rebuild. So if you're starting a new team, I suggest just understanding the value that you have and setting boundaries. That was something I was really bad at. I was getting people calling me all hours of the night. I was available 24/7 when, I probably shouldn't have been.
Being a team leader, what's that pressure like? Because I know what it's like as a broker owner, broker of record, and there's the pressures of life. There's a personal aspect. There's a professional aspect. You have to be on all the time. How did you deal with that kind of pressure? And, when you have people looking up to you or looking to you for answers, and sometimes you don't even have the answers yourself. What does that pressure look like in Dave Hutch's life, and what does Dave Hutch do?
Yeah, that's tough. You're right. You hit it right on the head there. It's like, even if I'm having a bad day or even if I'm going through a lot, I can't project that onto my team members. I have to always be like calm, cool, collected, in control of my emotions. And it's challenging at times, right? Because, sometimes I'd be going through something with a deal of my own that was causing me extreme anxiety or extreme stress, but I have someone else that needs me and they're on my team because they need my mentorship. So I would have to put that mask on and make sure that everything's okay and pretend everything's okay in my life when I'm now dealing with them, helping with their issues, right? But the pressures of a team leader are challenging because they rely on you. And
how do you deal with the stress? Like, what do you do? What's your process? Do you take time for yourself? Do you sort of think about things? Like, what's your way? Do you talk to someone about it? What do you do?
I'm going to shout out my girl on this one. For me, my stress, if I'm unorganized, it's chaos in my brain. I have endless books, tabs, whiteboards. I need to physically see everything. If I don't see it and write it down, every issue, and have a problem for that solution, a solution for that problem, I need to be organized. Once everything is organized, that's how I can calm my chaos. I just need to talk it out. So my girl, thank God, is super, super chill and the opposite of me. I get stressed out a lot, so do you. And I just need to talk out my problems, and I need her to stop what she's doing and listen to my bullshit, and then just put that on paper, have a plan in place. That's it. Because honestly, a lot of the time when you're stressed, it really isn't that big of an issue. If it's not going to matter in 6 months, it really doesn't matter, right? So for me, what I'll do when I have all those problems is I just write them down and make a quick solution to each problem. And then when I see it, I think, okay, that's not too bad. I had it yesterday. Yesterday was dog shit. Terrible day I had. And I was going to make a story about it today, but I didn't. And it was like, I had 2 listings come to market yesterday. I had an offer on one of my old listings for sale. I put in 4 offers for sale from my 4 buyers, and I was complaining about it. And I was like, this is ridiculous. And I had the change of brokerage. I have them emailing me new nuances that each brokerage has in terms of getting my listings put up. All these like little minor things, and I blew up. Yeah, I didn't yell, but I was getting sassy with my girlfriend, and she's like, I'm going to give you a minute, take a walk, okay, and then come back. And I ended up losing all 4 of my offers, and the deal for my listing fell apart. And I was like so upset, and I had to literally take a step back and think and be like, man, 5-6 years ago, I would have probably cut my hand off for a listing. Like I would have maybe debated that. And now my problem is that I'm putting in too many offers for sale and I'm getting too much on my plate. And it's like, it's all perspective, you know. I'm very grateful, and I think being grateful and taking a step back and being like, okay, remember where you remember where you came from, you know, like remember where you came from, because 5 years ago, if you told me I'd have this problem back then, I'd be like, bring it on, let's go, you know. But as you progress in life and as you progress in your career, you're just going to there's always going to be stresses. There's always going to be issues. It's just as you level up, those stresses become bigger, those issues become bigger, and you have to be better at solving those problems. But there's always going to be stress. It's just a matter of to what capacity and how you handle it. So
I think that's well said. And I agree with you there.
Yeah.
As I carry on in the conversation about this, I want to circle back a little bit to what you said earlier. And we were talking about it off camera as well, about growing up in the household that you're growing up in, and your mother thinking that you're selling drugs, and you know, she can't believe that my son is doing well as he is. He's now in Toronto. Talk to me a little bit about your childhood, bro. You know, what was that like, and to where you are today? I mean, when your friends see you or your family sees you, or you know, they're like, wow, like look who you've become, and they're incredibly proud of you. But what's it like for you now that when you reflect back on your childhood, what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a very small town. I never lived in a big city my entire life. My family is very middle class, super like normal, like nothing crazy, not poor or poverty, but very middle class.
Who are you close to, mom or dad or mom? Okay.
Me, my mom, my sister. My dad and I don't talk much anymore. Mm-hmm. He was super hard on me as a kid, which I guess I have daddy issues, but like, you know, I think it taught me a lot of lessons, you know, that maybe aren't always the best, but my dad was super hard on me as a kid. He was always wanting me to be more, especially with hockey. You know, it was never good enough. I'd make the better team. You know, it was never good enough. I'd make the first line on that better team. Yeah, but you're not the captain or whatever. You know, it was always ongoing of never really being good enough. And I think that's translated into my life as an adult. You know, like I'm always super hard on myself. Even when I make, you know, like I said earlier, if you would have told 21-year-old David what 20 or 34-year-old David's making right now, he wouldn't even believe you.
What did you expect from your father?
You know, just to be like a mentor, right? I don't think I really had a financial mentor, or, you know, I had a showing the other day, and the client showed up with his dad. And the dad, it was a downtown condo. And usually dads ruin deals, you know? Like they're like, especially downtown. Oh, the dad was like, honestly, if you don't buy this, I'm going to buy it. This is the coolest fucking condo right downtown. Think of the girls you can have here. And I was like, what? And he's like, how much is this going to sell for? And I told him the price. And he's like, all right, you know, well, I might be able to give him an extra 50, 60K. And I was like, can you be my dad? You know, like, but yeah, no, I mean, I was expected, you know, to some more mentorship, but it was never really there.
Do you think he's proud of you now?
Oh, for sure. He sees my stuff. I know he's watching. But I make it a point. That's why I'm so hard on myself, and that's half the reason why I work so hard, is because I want to make such a difference and break free of, like, you know, what my entire family's kind of understanding of money is, you know? That's why real estate to me, like, I'm probably getting off topic, but real estate to me, we all complain about real estate, but I owe so much I wouldn't change a thing about real estate. I genuinely believe if you surround yourself with the right people and put yourself in the right settings and you put in the work, real estate can make your life incredible. The people I've met, the tables that I've sat at, and I'm looking around thinking, like, I don't know if I even belong here. You know, it's put me in rooms and introduced me to people that have changed my life, and, you know, allowed me to go to a spot where money is very abundant, and you want to make a couple million, go make a couple million. You know, I don't know many careers out there that you have the ability to make as much money as you do in real estate and live such an amazing life. Like, I love life, man.
Just the same reference you've made of being in rooms. I'm very grateful for my career as well, because I've had opportunities to be in certain types of rooms.
For sure.
And I had a conversation with someone, and I was talking to my friend about it, and I said to my friend, I said, you do realize that someone's $100 is your $10.
Yeah.
You know, and someone's $1,000 is your $100.
Big time.
And someone's $10,000 is your, you know, $100, you know, so, or $1,000. So when you're in rooms like that, where it's just a normal occurrence, it makes you think bigger and think larger about things. I want to circle back with the relationship that you have with your mother, because I'm curious, you know, what impact would you say she's had on your life, and what impact does she continue to have on your life? You know, other than of course, the motherly, we all love our mothers, but there's impacts that our family members can have from us. What would you say that impact is?
Yeah, she's like the nicest person in the world. So I think, you know, learned that from her, that she's very calm in every situation. She's never react. She's always collected. Every time something would happen, she's very collected, or sorry, very emotionally in touch with her reactions. Just super kind, and like I think being nice, there's not enough niceness in this. As cheesy as that sounds, people are miserable, man. And like, you don't need to be. And I spent the last couple months in Tulum there for a bit, and I'll use it as an example. People there everyone's smiling. Everyone's happy. And I think when I came back to Toronto there for a little bit and walked around downtown, it was like everyone's got this mean look on their face. And I honestly think we just need more niceness in the world. My mom is like that. She's just like a little angel human, stuck in her little small town over in London out on the outskirts. But yeah, her and I have a really solid relationship. I just think her understanding of her financial success and finances for her are how most, I think, parents thought back then, right? Get a job with a union, work 9 to 5, pay off your house as soon as possible, and then retire and do whatever. But it's like, she literally can't even understand my life. Like she has no idea, you know what I mean? Like I have an online course and it's making decent money, and I'll show her I'm like, look, like I have X amount of people paying your son, who, was like just a kid that played gym, was like dumb kid, people are paying me a lot of money to listen to my shit. Like it's fucking crazy. And she's like, what, and I'll show up with nice cars, nice watches, and she's just like, I see her looking at it, trying to put the dollar signs together and trying to Google it, I'm sure. And she just can't fathom it because it's just not what she's used to, She doesn't understand that the concept that if I want to go make a lot of money, I can go make a lot of money,
As I'm going to say something to you, as cheesy as this is going to probably sound, I've come to the realization, maybe now this is how I feel and how I think. I think that I've learned and I've come to the terms of just accepting people for who they are.
You have to.
And loving them for who they are and not expecting anything more of them because they're not going to be able to deliver. And I'm going to get my expectations up too high because I expect something from them, naturally. It's like how you have boys and have friends, and there's certain things I'm like, man, what are you doing? But you still love them because they're still your friends, And you're just like, I'm just going to accept you for who you are. I know you're going to do dumbass mistakes like this. Let it be. It's going to be a good story to tell, and I'm going to carry on moving forward, because no matter how much you guide them or tell them and try to show them a world, it's sort of, I read this in a book really long time ago, let's say you're a chain smoker and all of a sudden you stop smoking and you're like, wow, my life is so much great, but all your friends smoke around you. Now you're going to them and be like, guys, you guys gotta stop smoking all of a sudden, and they'll look at you and be like, what's wrong with you? There's a whole other world that you're trying to show them. It's like, look at this place, but they're not able to see it.
We talked about that, about drinking. We both have, I haven't drank in like over 70 days.
Wow.
And it's like you said, my boy is like he is my best friend. When I got back, I'm like, hey, let's go, let's meet up. I haven't been home in a few months. Let's catch up, And it's like, oh, I'm not drinking. And like, it was like, you mean you're not getting like drunk, or you're not drinking? What do you mean? Like, you're not going to have one, you're like, no, I don't, none,
Yeah.
But anyways, I get it.
How do you feel now without, being 70 days in?
It's great. I think.
What do you feel? What do you like? Share with the world, because I'm 260 days in, and we were talking about this, and I was like, dude, it's a whole nother world, and it's not like we can't have a drink, and it's not like we've quit forever. I'd never say I quit. I just have taken a break.
For sure.
But I feel so good with it. How do you feel?
Yeah, I think it got to a point where I was just so busy that my hangovers were deadly. My hangovers are multiple days, and then it's like, that's the cycle you get into when you get drinking. It's you drink on Friday, you're hungover till Monday, so then you only have like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then you're drinking again Friday. So that means of my week, I'm only getting 3 productive days. Now, I used to, not saying I used to drink an excessive amount, but everyone went through their phases of partying. I live on King Street,
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember Saturdays, Sundays were write-offs, and not write-offs, I would do what I had to do. But now, man, I feel on it just all the time. You want to call me Sunday morning, 8 a.m.? Yeah, let's do it. I'm good. It's just great. I feel super on it. And I think the biggest thing for me with no drinking, honestly, is that we all make silly mistakes when we drink, and we all act a different way when we drink. And I think as we grow in our careers and as we become, I don't want to say like public figures, but as we become more known, all of my clients, I work a lot downtown, right? A lot of my clients live and work downtown. I see my clients out all of the time. The last thing I want is to be caught slipping and looking silly or saying dumb things to people that have bought and sold major transactions with me. It's just not a good look. And same as you, I'm not saying I'll never drink again, but probably not in the immediate future anyways.
I want to jump into your business model of what you're doing now, and where you want to be. But first off, I want to ask you, who are the people that you want to surround yourself or are surrounding yourself with now compared to before?
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of like as a journey keeps moving forward, you're realizing what's best for me, what's better for my business, what's better for my lifestyle, what type of life I want to build, what's my dream life. So the question actually, to sum it all up, is what is the dream life of Dave Hutch, and how are you going to run that dream life with your setup and your operations? That's what I want to ask you.
Yeah. What does a dream life look like for me? I think honestly, I would love to set up shop in Mexico, to be honest. I really, really like it down there. I think there is a lot of opportunities down there. But obviously my roots are here. Ideally, I have a team of quite a few agents here, and I can run my shop in Mexico and run both. But to answer the question too about who I'd want to surround myself with, you're right. You know, as you progress in your career, you want to surround yourself with like-minded people, and the conversations you have are different. You know, as you kind of grow into who you want to be and grow into that next level, you surround yourself with the people that are always, you know, above you. And I've always said this, that's like the people that are above you are always willing to hold their hand down to pull you up. It's the people that are below you that are going to try to drag you down to their level because they don't want to see you out succeed them to a certain point. So now I'm always trying to put myself into rooms with people that are, you know, I listen to them talk. I have a mentor in Mexico. Okay. And this guy, he's a condo developer, super nice guy. Same thing, comes from nothing fancy, very middle-class guy, started building in Mexico. And now he's like, I hear him talk about things and the money he speaks about, like you said, you know, his million is probably my $1,000. Like he had babies and he just had kids in Los Cabos. And he was like, it cost him, I think it was like $120K US per kid. And he's like, oh yeah, so I had to pay my credit card. And I was like, could you imagine you got a $120K bill? I'd be like, fuck, I guess keep the babies, you know? Like
not the poor babies.
Yeah, the poor babies. But yeah, that's what I see. I think the dream life for me is just really finding, you know, where I want to be and what I want to do with my business and my team. I think it's being between Toronto and Mexico, to be honest.
Yeah, and I thought about that for myself as well, you know, to have that balance of life of ideally, because after in the hustle and bustle, you get burnt out.
Big time.
How did you scale your team's production to $44 million? And you know, how challenging was it? How tough was it? What systems did you implement? For any agent that's listening to our podcast right now, you know, what would you say that they could do effective immediately as well, following your models? What would you say that is?
Yeah. So the first part to answer about how we scale the business to sell that number, majority of my business is repeat referral clients. Yeah. So I'm able to hand off a lot of new leads to the team. The problem that every team leader that's watching this, I'm sure there's a million, most team members aren't going to do the things you want them to do. Yeah. They're not going to make the calls you tell them to make. They're not going to do the number of dials you tell them to make. It's just life. But I think what I did differently was I created a culture in my team that was, they felt let down. They felt like they were letting the team down by not contributing. Because if you just have your rules and no culture, no family established, no friendship, no, you know, relationships, then they're just not going to do what they're going to do, and you're going to yell at them. They're not going to listen, and they're going to have resentment, and they're going to leave. You know, I think why we were so successful, even though we did scale probably too quickly, was that I created such a great community. Like, my team always hangs out together all of the time without me. You know, they've grown their own little friendships within my group, which is really cool. And that's how I think we were able to see the success we did, was just genuinely bringing, like you said, like-minded people together. Everyone on my team had massive goals. Whether they hit those goals or not, they had the ideas of really taking their own business to the next level. So like-minded people around each other. And the second part of that question about what new agents should do, honestly, my biggest advice to any new agent is begin tracking your business immediately. A lot of agents that come, I love helping new realtors, because when I was new, I was lost. I didn't know who to talk to. I had no mentorship. I realized that no one gave a shit about me. I didn't know where to turn. So I love helping new realtors. It's like what I love doing. And they don't understand the importance of tracking and the analytics of their actual business, like inside and out. They think it's silly tracking how many phone calls I did, how many emails. Like, why is that important? Because honestly, if you're not running your own business like an actual business, you're going to be on the rat wheel forever, and you're going to be doing the same thing every single year. And look, in real estate, every January 1st, we start all off at the same page. We all made $0 so far. And now it's another year of the rat race, trying to see how much money we can make and outdo ourselves from the year before. If you don't have an understanding of how you got to that price point, then you're never going to be able to scale your business or actually control a business. And I don't think you're an entrepreneur, even though you want to say you are. You're just an employee for yourself. If you remove yourself from that business, your business is worth zero. My business only took off when I started tracking every single aspect of the business. And I can tell you exactly how many dials I do, because the reason why it's important is because now that I've tracked it for so many years, okay, I know, and I plan my whole year January 1st. I can tell you what I'm going to make this year. I choose that. It's not up to the market. It's not up to a pandemic. I've never made less every year in real estate. I've never made less. And it's because I know my metrics. I don't give a shit what the market's doing. It doesn't matter. I'm going to be in control of that. And I know that if I do the output, then it's going to lead to income coming in. So it's, if I made $500,000 last year and I did, 6,000 dials, well, I want to make 800K. I got to do, add an extra 3, 4, 5,000 dials. It's just tracking your business sounds so nominal and so boring. But like, if you don't know calls, emails, your lead gen sources, your closed deal by source, your ROI on your ad spend, if you're just spending money here and there, you're never going to get to the next level ever. You're going to be stuck on the rat wheel forever. So my advice is track your business and just get a CRM. Most people don't have CRMs, which I think is insanity.
And you've done a phenomenal job, and you've been speaking all over the world about this as well. And you do a lot of conferences, you do a lot of events. What prompts you to do them? I mean, I know some team leaders that they're like, no, I'm just going to stick to selling. Where does the motivation come from speaking in public and talking about your business? Because you're very open about your business, and you've been very transparent about that, which not many team leaders do. What prompts you to do that?
Yeah, I think just coming from the sports background, like I had a team of 22 agents and most of us honestly worked in the same market. We all pretty much worked downtown Toronto. Not once in 3 years did I ever, even one single time, have an issue where a client would say, oh, I'm working with someone on your team. There is endless amounts of opportunities in Toronto. So that if I share my secrets with somebody, it's not going to take away from my business. I'm still going to make the same amount of money or more. And by helping people, I think Gary Vee had a quote that stuck with me a long time ago. And it was like, when he started giving away his free content, at that time, a lot of the content creators were getting mad at Gary Vee for giving away so much free content, saying, well, make them pay for it. Yeah. And he's like, and aren't you worried that they're going to take your business? And he said, if I give my secrets to 1,000 people, it's likely less than 1% of those people actually go and implement this into their business. So by me sharing my success and sharing how to get to the next level, if one person takes it, amazing. It's not going to affect my life. I'm still going to go about making my money. And I just know real estate can be a really lonely career. And, there were times when you're new where you think like, fuck this sucks. Like, what am I doing here? I got no life, no friends. I'm still broke somehow. And I'm working more than ever. What the fuck is this? But I promise, like at the end of the tunnel, like where you are, where I am, when you get out of that and you start seeing like for real success, it's crazy. And you just got to get through those like first 3 years. The first 3 years suck. I don't think no one's going to call you in year 2, 3 and be like, hey, my $4 million house is for sale. You coming? Like, it doesn't happen. It just takes like the consistent work, and work works. It's just putting in the fucking work every single day, understanding you're going to have no reward from that work anytime soon. It's going to come way down the road. Like, I show people on the course that I have of me having people implemented into my CRM from like 2016 and continuously calling them, emailing them, and now they're buying. It's like, it doesn't happen overnight. People expect to pay for online leads. They're going to get a call from Joe, and Joe's going to say, hi, can you buy this? Yes, I would love to meet you tomorrow and put the offer. It doesn't work. That doesn't happen. Maybe once a year, I call them the gifts from God.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong, they happen. They do.
I've had my own fair share of stories of that gift from God came out of nowhere and then never saw them again.
Yeah.
It's like, they're out, they're gone.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you. Look, you spoke a lot about challenges and difficult times that you go through, but you figure out a way to move forward. What's been a lowest point in your life that you would like to share, or a setback that you had that made you stronger, or like you're just going through hell at that point and you're like, man, what are the biggest pain points? Like, I know you said something about quitting real estate, and you're like, I don't know if this is for me, and maybe you had a backup plan, maybe you didn't. What does that pain look like for you? What does that lowest point look like for you?
I think the lowest point was like year 2 or 3 in real estate, when I told myself I was going to put my head down and do the work. And I talk about rentals all the time. I know how bad they are. And I remember year 3 starting off again with just more rentals. Yeah. And I didn't have a backup plan. I only have plan A. Like I know some people have that, their parents are wealthy or they have a backup plan of some sort. I never had plan B. Real estate was only plan A. So the lowest point was definitely like turning into year 3, thinking that I'm going to be doing a whole nother year of what I just did. It was really shitty. My friends were literally texting me being like, I don't think you're doing this right. Like you're doing it wrong, you know? And I said, no, like it's going to come to an end. I promise. Just got to put the work in. And how I dealt with that was, it sounds stupid, but I have nothing without work tattooed on me. Like literally hard work's going to pay off. If you continue to do the same thing, eventually you're going to win. You just have to continuously put the reps in over and over and over again. And if you continue and stick with anything, you're going to win long term. People are so caught up in social media because they see these people win so quick. It looks like it's quick, right? To them, to seeing surface level, it looks like it was an overnight success. Same with me, you know, people message me all the time. Like I have a girl on my team, took out one of my buyers. She was one showing, they put the offer in. She goes, man, I wish I had clients like that, you know, that just put in offers. I was like, you want me to show you the 2 years of chats we had before this and the 70 other showings we went on before this? Like this win is because I did 2 years of bullshit, you know, to get that one little tiny version of that win. Yeah. So it's like, you just have to stick with shit, be consistent with it. And I think,
what's a life principle or a book that you've read that has a great significant impact in you know, where you are today?
Honestly, my biggest thing is nothing without work, you know, hard work always pays off. And I think hard work outperforms intelligence, outperforms any sort of education. If you continuously put that work in and the consistent work, you're going to win long term. In terms of books, I just got into reading books. I'm a big book reader now. But what got me into reading books was a 5 a.m. club because it just taught me the power of like discipline and time management. But this is off topic a little bit. But the best book I think for any realtor is Agent's Edge by Jordan Cohen.
Okay, cool.
He was in the Remax, number one Remax agent in the world.
Yeah. You like that book?
And you need to read it.
Agent's Edge.
The Agent's Edge by Jordan Cohen. It goes over his listing script and his listing pitch. It's like game changing, honestly. He's the number one realtor at Remax in the world. Yeah. It's only him and his wife and one assistant. He lists all of the best houses in LA and he gives word for word how he gets those listings, literally. Wow.
I'm gonna have to check that book out. I really enjoyed some of the things that you shared today, and thank you for being so raw and honest. I want to finish off this podcast with a very big question. What's a legacy that you want to leave behind? Like, who is Dave Hutch?
You know what? I wanna make a name for myself in this industry. I wanted to come into real estate and bring a different approach to it. I wanted to bring an authentic approach, and I wanted to see how I can utilize authenticity and being raw and genuine to increase the reputation of realtors. Realtors don't have the best reputation. I honest to God, when I moved to Toronto, I had a realtor get me my rental, and I swear to God, I think I said this at your thing. I thought, wow, what a loser. That guy has the worst job in the world. Wouldn't want to be that, and here we are. But I think through authenticity, through transparency, through building like meaningful relationships and providing real value, I think there's a select few of us like yourself that can reestablish the image of realtors and our importance in this industry, because I know there's a lot of bad apples out there, but there's bad apples in every career. And if my legacy can be that I've brought some sort of transparency, community, culture, and, you know, like, sounds cheesy again, but caring back into real estate, I'd be happy if I left with that.
Thank you for sharing that.
No problem.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in for another episode of More Than a Sale with the one and only Dave Hutch. Till next time.